Today, I want us to look at the growth of nectarine, and nectarine is a smooth-skinned fruit that is a type of peach characterized by its lack of a fuzzy skin. They are genetically identified to peaches, with the exception of the gene that results in the smooth skin. Nectarine are often smaller and firmer than peaches and can have either yellow or white flesh. So their flesh is always yellow or white. And now let us look at the requirements for growing nectarine. Welcome to this channel. So to begin with is the site selection and preparation. This is what you need to know when you'll be doing a site selection for planting your nectarine. Sunlight. Nectarine need at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day. Ensure the place that you will select to grow your nectarine receives sunlight for a period of 6 to 8 hours daily. To the soil, well-drained fertile soil is ideal. Remember, I also told you if your soil is not well drained, you can improve soil quality with compost or aged manure before planting. Before you plant, please ensure that you enrich your soil with compost or aged manure. This will help you increase your soil fertility and also your soil drainage. Space. Standard trees need more space, while dwarf varieties can be grown in containers. There are two varieties of nectarine. One is the standard tree type of a nectarine, and the other one is the dwarf varieties. For the dwarf varieties, they can be grown in containers, but for the standard trees, please, you need to grow them outside or in a farm. Climate, consider the variety chill hours of the code requirements for your area. You plant nectarine or you grow nectarine during the cold seasons because they do well in the climate that is cold. To the planting, this is what you need to know about planting. When it comes to timing, plant in spring or fall while the tree is dormant. You consider planting during these seasons, that is the spring or the fall. Bare root versus container, those that will choose to do the bare root or the container. For the bare root versus the container, this is what you need to know. Water bare root trees before planting and loosen the root balls of container grown trees. Those that will do the container growing, please ensure that you loosen the root ball of container grown trees. For the planting depth, plant at the same depth as it was in the nursery pot. The tree, if you began the planting of the nectarine in the pot, please ensure that the hole that you will dig to plant your nectarine, ensure it is of the same depth as that of the nursery pot. Water well after planting and regularly afterwards. When you'll be planting, after you have planted, ensure you water your nectarine plant and also ensure that you always water regularly. To the care, this is what you need to know. Water deeply, especially during dry spells, but avoid overwatering. Overwatering will really affect your nectarine negatively. Therefore, ensure you always water your nectarine after you have planted them, but you really need to ensure you do not overwater. If you will be having a good soil drainage, it means that the flow of water in your soil will be effective and you will not experience the water logging. Fertilizing, use a balanced fertilizer in spring and summer, especially for container grown trees. If you're considering to do the container growth, remember we have said if you will be doing growing in containers, you have to grow the dwarf nectarine, the dwarf species of a nectarine. And if you plant in containers, please ensure you use a balanced fertilizer in spring and summer. Those two seasons, you have to ensure that your nectarine are fertilized with a balanced fertilizer. Pruning, prune in late winter or early spring and to shape the trees and remove dead or crossing branches. You prune during the spring. And why do you prune? You prune to remove the dead or the crossing branches. Thin fruitlets in spring to prevent overcrowding and ensure large, healthier fruit. When you are thinning, you thin during spring. And why do you thin? You generally thin to prevent the overcrowding and also ensure that you have a large, healthier fruits. To the pest and diseases control, Monitor for pests and diseases and take appropriate action, such as using organic sprays or if, pruning affected parts. So once you realize that you have some affected parts that maybe are affected by pests or diseases, you need to take the corrective action. And I told you, as a farmer, you can never take a corrective action if you're not in the farm to notice or identify once these pests or the diseases have started to affect your crop. And that is why I told you to be a close farmer. Once you've decided to do farming, please ensure you are a regular visitor to your farm and you always check on how the crops that you have planted, how are they doing, so that you can notice the pests and the diseases at an early stage. So for nectarine, you need to take appropriate action once you notice a certain type of a disease or a pest. Either you can use organic sprays. There are a variety of sprays depending on the type of the problem that you are experiencing in your farm, and you will not choose to use the organic sprays. You can also prune affected parts. To the next part is where we look at harvesting. This is what you need to know about harvesting. So, nectarine are typically ready for harvest in late summer. Ensure when you will be harvesting your nectarine, it's during the late summer. That is the appropriate period for you to harvest your nectarine. They are ripe when they yield to gentle pressure and the background color changes from green to yellow or red. So this is a fruit that you will really notice quite easily once it's ready for harvest or once it's ripe, because before they are ripe, they are green in color, and when they turn yellow or red, it means that your fruits are ready for harvesting. For those that will be growing in containers, choose a large container with good drainage. Use a well-draining potting mix and ensure adequate sunlight and water. So plant your nectarine in a pot that has well-drained potting mix. Apart from having the well-drained potting mix, please ensure that you will place that pot or that nectarine will be growing in a place that receives sunlight, and also ensure you always water. Once you grow in containers, maybe the containers will not receive that much of rain, even if it's during the rainy season. Unlike the person that will choose to plant in the farm, those that will grow the nectarine in the farm, it means they will grow receiving the rainwater. But if you choose to grow in a container, please ensure you always water your nectarine so that they can grow effectively. And I wish you all the best as you will be trying to grow nectarine. I know at the end of the day, you will be a happy farmer because of the produce that you will get and the profits that you will get at the end of the day. Thank you so much for staying tuned to the end of the vlog. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, share, hit that notification bell so that each and every time I'll be uploading, you will be notified. Till we meet in the next one, bye bye.